The stars above the mining planet Zephyra shimmered faintly through the thin clouds of dust. Towering metallic structures rose from the rocky surface, their lights blinking like distant constellations. Ships hummed overhead as they transported supplies and workers well underground. Massive drills dug tirelessly into the red soil. Zephyra was a place of constant motion, where survival required strength, skill, and sharp instincts. Yet, despite its harshness, the planet had a fragile sense of order, one that the humans were sent to maintain. Captain Rena Hale stood on the ramp of the human transport ship, her boots steady on the metal floor. The other peacekeepers shuffled behind her, their armor reflecting the cold light of the planet's twin moons. Hale's eyes scanned the alien settlement with quiet intensity, noting every detail: the placement of guards, the movement of miners, the gaps in security. Her expression was calm, unyielding, almost unnerving. "Remember," she said, voice steady, "we're here as observers. Keep the peace, not provoke them. Show strength through calm, not through fire." The aliens, a tall, lanky species with translucent skin that revealed faint traces of glowing veins, were already watching. They had noticed the human ship's descent and gathered near the central hub of the mining complex. When Hale stepped forward, one of the aliens tilted its head and hissed, a sound that carried both amusement and disdain. "Humans," it said, its voice like the scraping of metal on stone. "Come to watch us, little fragile things?" Some of Hale's squad tensed, but she did not react. Her eyes did not blink, not once, as if the very notion of fear was foreign to her. The aliens' companions laughed, their high-pitched tones echoing against the metal walls. "Do you fight like your stories claim?" one of the aliens mocked. "Or do you simply stand and stare?" Hale's lips pressed into a thin line. Without a word, she moved forward, her boots clicking against the floor. Every step was precise, measured. The laughter faded slightly as the aliens noticed the strange stillness in her demeanor. There was no hesitation, no glance away, just quiet observation, like a predator studying its surroundings. A young peacekeeper, Lieutenant Marks, whispered to another, "Does she ever blink?" The other shrugged. "I don't know, but I don't think I want to find out." Hale's calm presence had an effect that no gun or armor could replicate. It unsettled the aliens in a way that made them pause. They had dealt with aggressive humans before, brash soldiers who relied on force. But this human, she was different. She radiated patience and focus, and that unnerved even the bravest of them. The central hub of the mining colony was a maze of walkways and platforms, where aliens moved with quick, precise steps. Hale's squad followed her silently, keeping formation. Their mission was clear: maintain the ceasefire between rival alien factions, ensure the miners' safety, and prevent escalation. They were not to intervene unless absolutely necessary. As they reached the main platform, an alarm blared. A group of aliens had tampered with a mining machine, trying to make it collapse in the tunnels below. Laughter followed the act as if the incident was a joke. "Stop them," a junior officer whispered nervously. Hale's response was silent but decisive. She moved forward, her squad following her every motion. In a few moments, she had deactivated the machine's sabotage, rewiring circuits with precise movements. Sparks flew and the alien workers' laughter turned to confused murmurs. "Impossible," one alien muttered. "How does she do that?" Hale turned to them briefly, still without blinking, still without a word. The message was clear. Humanity was not weak. The aliens stepped back, their amusement fading into unease. Lieutenant Marks exhaled slowly. "I think she's showing them we're serious." Hale did not respond. She scanned the hub again, noting the positions of all the alien guards and workers. Every action, every movement had a purpose. Her eyes moved like laser beams, capturing details others would miss. The alien leader, a tall figure with ridges along its skull, approached. Its eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "You humans, you think you can control this place with stillness?" Hale finally spoke. Her voice, calm but firm. "We maintain order, Not by force alone, but by presence. Actions speak louder than words. The alien leader tilted its head, intrigued but not convinced. "We will see," it hissed, turning to retreat with its entourage. "Perhaps we have underestimated your kind." That night, the Peacekeepers set up their quarters near the edge of the settlement. Hale inspected the area, checking for weak points, making mental notes of escape routes and defensive positions. The alien settlement was unpredictable, but her mind was a map of possibilities, a network of outcomes she could navigate without hesitation. A soft knock on the door drew her attention. Lieutenant Marks entered, looking uneasy. "Captain, they're still mocking us outside." I think they're planning something," he said. Hale's gaze did not waver. "Let them. If they try, we will respond calmly, efficiently. Panic will not help them nor us." Marks nodded slowly. "It's unsettling the way you watch everything. You didn't blink once the entire day." Hale finally allowed herself a small, almost imperceptible smile. "Sometimes the eyes need no rest when the mind is awake." Outside, the aliens gathered under the pale light of the moons. They whispered among themselves, their tone shifting from mockery to curiosity. Humanity was unpredictable. The soldiers were disciplined, calm, and unyielding. They had expected fear, hesitation, and uncertainty, but what they saw instead was focus and confidence. In the tunnels below, miners worked with caution, sensing the tension above. Hale's presence had already changed the dynamic of the settlement. The humans were no longer observers. They were a force to be reckoned with, not through aggression, but through sheer composure and strategy. As the first day drew to a close, a subtle change had taken place. The laughter of the aliens had quieted. Whispers of respect, tinged with caution, replaced mockery. Captain Rena Hale remained at the center, still unblinking, still watching, still calculating. For the humans, this was only the beginning. The core. Alien factions had not yet tested the full strength of the Peacekeepers, but the message was already clear. Underestimate humanity at your peril. Calm, patience, and precision could be as powerful as any weapon. And Hale, silent and unwavering, had already made the first mark on Zephora. The stars above the mining planet shone on, indifferent to the struggles below. But beneath their light, humanity's soldiers stood resolute, unblinking, and ready for whatever challenge came next. The next morning, Zephora's twin moons hung low, casting long, pale shadows across the metal walkways. The alien factions had begun to stir. The day before, they had mocked humanity's peacekeepers, expecting hesitation or fear. But the calm, precision of Captain Rena Hale and her squad had left them unsettled. Now the aliens tested their patience and the humans' resolve. Rena walked alongside Lieutenant Marks, her boots echoing against the metallic floor. Her eyes, steady and unblinking, swept the bustling hub of the mining colony. Machines whirred. Conveyor belts rattled and alien workers moved with anxious efficiency. The subtle tension in the air was undeniable. "They're setting traps," Marks whispered, keeping his voice low. "I can feel it. Every corner seemed off." Rena nodded slightly. "They want to see if we panic. We won't. Stay alert, follow my lead, and observe everything." The first test came quickly. A small group of alien saboteurs moved toward a support beam holding a section of the upper mining platform. With a few deft gestures, they loosened bolts, trying to make it collapse. They laughed, thinking no human would notice. But Hale's squad was always watching. Within moments, the Peacekeepers had surrounded the saboteurs. Hale stepped forward, her presence alone commanding attention. She moved deliberately, disarming the sabotage without any aggression, rewiring the bolts and sensors so the platform was safer than before. The aliens froze, unable to comprehend how calmly she had neutralized the threat. "You see?" Hale said, finally breaking the silence, her voice low and precise. "We respond, but not in fear. You cannot unbalance what does not waver." The alien saboteurs stared, confusion replacing their arrogance. They had expected panic or forceful retaliation, but instead, the humans had shown patience and control. For the first time, they questioned whether mockery could ever succeed against such composure. Later, in the central market of the settlement, the aliens attempted another test. They crowded around human soldiers, pushing and jostling, speaking rapid, taunting words. One of the aliens even tried to grab a weapon from a human's belt. Hale did not move. Not a single blink crossed her face. The humans remained calm, and slowly the aliens' actions began to falter. Their hands froze mid-motion, their eyes narrowing. "You are unusual," an alien muttered, stepping back. "We thought humans would flinch, but you do not." The phrase spread quickly through the settlement. Curiosity replaced mockery as more aliens observed the humans' restraint. Hale's stillness became almost a legend among the miners and guards. Her squad followed her example, disciplined and precise, aware that their captain's focus inspired confidence in them and unease in the aliens. Even among the humans, there was awe. Lieutenant Marks found himself glancing at her often. "She doesn't even blink," he whispered to another soldier during a break. "It's unsettling." The other soldier shook his head. "It's more than that. She sees everything, every move, every detail. You can't hide anything from her." The aliens escalated their tests. Small weapons went missing from storage, rooms only to be returned mysteriously. Food supplies were tampered with, creating minor chaos. In every instance, Hale's squad responded with precision and minimal confrontation. Every move was calculated, showing that humans could adapt quickly, learn from small incidents, and neutralize threats efficiently. By the afternoon, the alien leader of the faction Hale had confronted the previous day called a meeting in the central hub. The miners and guards gathered, whispering nervously. The leader's translucent skin glowed faintly as it addressed the humans directly. "You humans. You are unlike any we have faced," it said, its tone a mix of curiosity and caution. "Your kind does not panic. Your kind does not flinch. We wish to see the limits of your resolve." Hale stepped forward. "We are not here to prove limits. We are here to maintain peace. But if you attempt to harm those under our protection, we will act calmly, efficiently, and without hesitation." The alien leader tilted its head, considering her words. Then it grinned, an unsettling smile. "Very well, human. Let the tests continue. We wish to see how you respond when the pressure rises." As the alien leader left, Marks looked uneasy. "Captain, are we ready for that? They're not just testing us anymore, they're planning something bigger." Hale's expression remained calm. "Then we remain ready. Panic will not serve us. Observing, learning, and acting precisely, that will serve us. The moment we waver, they believe they have won. We cannot give them that satisfaction." The sun dipped low, casting orange-red light across the settlement. In the tunnels below, alien workers whispered among themselves. They had begun to notice a pattern. The humans were always calm, always watching, always precise. Even when confronted with unexpected threats, the Peacekeepers did not rush, did not shout, did not flinch. Hale walked the perimeter of the colony, inspecting every entrance, every access point, every weak link. She moved silently, her squad following her lead. Even when minor incidents occurred, a loose panel, a fallen crate, they corrected them swiftly, without panic, without noise. By nightfall, the alien factions had learned an important lesson. Mockery could not disturb the humans. Threats could not shake them. Every attempt to provoke fear was met with calm calculation. Hale's presence, unblinking and unwavering, had become a symbol of human strength. In the shadows of the settlement, a young alien soldier whispered to another, "She never blinks. How can anyone remain so steady?" The other shook its head. "I do not know, but we should be careful. Humans are unpredictable, and this one, especially." Meanwhile, Hale returned to her quarters, checking her equipment with meticulous care. Every tool was in its place, every weapon clean and ready. Marks followed her, curiosity and caution both evident in his face. "Captain," he said softly, "do you ever rest? You've been watching, analyzing, and moving all day without pause. Not once have you blinked, not once have you faltered." Hale looked at him calmly, her eyes still sharp. "Rest is important, Lieutenant, but the mind must remain awake. Observation is never ending when there is work to be done. Patience and focus are our greatest weapons here." Marks nodded slowly. He realized that her strength was not only in physical skill but in mental endurance. The aliens had mocked them for being human, assuming weakness, but they had underestimated the resilience, discipline, and strategy of those trained to protect peace. Outside, the moons of Zephora rose higher, casting silvery light across the settlement. The alien factions retreated to their quarters, murmuring nervously. The humans had survived the first full day with composure that defied expectation. Hale stood near the edge of the settlement, her silhouette outlined against the moons. Her squad watched her quietly, feeling a mix of pride and awe. They had faced mockery, sabotage, and tests, yet their captain had not wavered. Her unblinking gaze and calm presence had not only protected the settlement, but had sent a message. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was capable of extraordinary focus, strategy, and resilience, and the aliens would soon realize that this was only the beginning. The first night on Zephora passed without major incident, but Hale knew that the true tests were yet to come. The aliens were clever, ambitious, and unpredictable. They would not stop at small pranks or minor sabotage. Soon, they would attempt to challenge the humans in ways that required every ounce of focus and ingenuity. Hale's calm did not falter. Her eyes remained unblinking, her mind alert, her strategy clear. The Peacekeepers were ready, and when the aliens truly tested them, they would see that humanity's strength was not in size, nor in weapons, nor in speed, but in precision, patience, and unwavering resolve. For Captain Rena Hale, one unblinking stare could speak louder than any words. The next morning on Zephora, the air was thick with tension. The alien factions had spent the night whispering and planning, and their curiosity about humanity's unblinking soldier had turned into unease. Captain Rena Hale moved among her squad, walking the perimeter of the mining settlement. Every bolt, every panel, every walkway was under her careful scrutiny. "They're planning something bigger," Lieutenant Marks said quietly, following her. "Yesterday was just the test. Today, I can feel it. They won't stop." Hale's gaze swept the settlement with unwavering focus. "Then we prepare. Observation and strategy are our tools. Fear is theirs. We do not carry it. The aliens wasted no time." By mid-morning, small teams began to move through the tunnels below the settlement. They aimed to block exits, create distractions, and force the Peacekeepers into reactive positions. But Hale anticipated their tactics. She led her squad silently through a side corridor, bypassing the main hub. "They think we will follow their chaos," she said. "We will turn it to our advantage." In the first tunnel, a group of alien saboteurs tried to collapse a support beam, just as they had the day before. But this time, Hale had set a small, clever trap. She and her squad had positioned lightweight sensors and wires connected to the beam's supports. When the aliens touched it, the sensors triggered a harmless but startling burst of sparks, causing the saboteurs to stumble and retreat in surprise. "Precision is louder than force," Hale whispered as her squad moved past them. Marks could hardly believe the calm, almost effortless way the trap had been set. The aliens regrouped, frustrated. They had underestimated humanity's ability to predict, adapt, and counterattack without panic. And they had no idea that Hale's mind was always 3 steps ahead, calculating every possible move before it happened. Meanwhile, above ground, the main hub became chaotic, as alien workers tried to manipulate mining machinery to create hazards for the humans. But the Peacekeepers' response was swift and controlled. One squad redirected a rolling drill using a cleverly placed magnetic field. Another squad rerouted conveyor belts, turning them into barriers that contained the aliens, without harm. The aliens' confidence faltered. They had mocked the humans for calmness, for restraint, for observing rather than attacking. Now they were facing humans who could act with precision under pressure, whose every move seemed planned and inevitable. Hale moved to the central platform, observing as the alien general of the faction paced nervously. The translucent leader's skin pulsed faintly, betraying its frustration. These humans, they are not like others, it hissed. They anticipate everything. How? The answer was simple yet terrifying for the aliens: focus and discipline. Hale's calm, unblinking presence was not empty. It was a constant analytical calculation of every detail, every possibility, every weakness in the alien plans. In the tunnels below, Hale set a new countermeasure, using portable tools and components. From the mining machines, she fashioned improvised sensors and traps that turned the aliens' own equipment against them. A vibrating drill meant to cause a collapse was redirected to trigger harmless alarms that sent the saboteurs retreating. Conveyor belts intended to trap humans instead became barriers that guided aliens into observation zones. Every tool in Fityan, her hands became an extension of her strategy. Marx watched in awe. It's brilliant. They don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. Hale nodded, never stopping her survey of the environment. They will learn eventually, but it must be done efficiently without waste. Their mistakes are our advantage, but only if we see them clearly. By afternoon, the aliens attempted a more direct challenge. A group of heavily armed soldiers approached the human squad in the open marketplace. They believed brute force would intimidate the humans into retreating. But Hale stood in the center, her stance firm, her eyes unblinking. "Do not underestimate patience," she said calmly. "Do not mistake observation for weakness." The aliens advanced, but the humans did not flinch. Instead, they used clever formations to limit the attackers' options. Barricades were repositioned, obstacles created, and lines of fire anticipated. Within moments, the alien soldiers found themselves trapped in controlled zones, where retreat was the safest choice. The crowd of alien workers watched in amazement. The humans were not only disciplined, but they were also thinking faster than the aliens could react. Every move was purposeful, every tactic calculated. It was not raw power. They had already learned that humans could overcome it through strategy and calm precision. Even the alien general hesitated, realizing the humans were no longer reactive. They were commanding the situation. "How?" it muttered under its breath. Hale's calm gaze swept the marketplace. "We act when necessary, we observe when possible, and we never panic. That is our strength." Later, in the tunnels, the aliens attempted to cut off the humans' exit. They set up temporary barriers, hoping to trap them in a narrow corridor. But Hale anticipated the maneuver. She redirected the barriers with a few small adjustments, creating a safe path for her squad, while isolating the alien forces in a controlled zone. The aliens, frustrated and confused, found themselves contained without suffering any serious loss. Marx shook his head in disbelief. "It's like they're moving through a maze we already solved." And she never blinks. Not once. Hale allowed herself a small, faint smile. Focus is sharper than any weapon. Strategy is stronger than force. And calmness often terrifies more than anger. By evening, the aliens were forced to regroup. They realized that brute force, mockery, and intimidation would not sway the humans. Every attempt to challenge the Peacekeepers was met with precise, calculated response. Sephora's mining settlement, once a place of chaos and tension, had become a controlled environment where humans set the terms. The alien workers whispered among themselves, "These humans, they are not like us, not like anyone we have seen." Hale returned to the central hub, standing on the edge of the platform as her squad checked equipment and prepared for the next day. Marx approached quietly. "Captain, they're going to escalate further, aren't they?" he asked. Hale's gaze remained fixed on the horizon. "Yes, and we will be ready. They will test us in ways we cannot yet predict. But patience, focus, and preparation will see us through. Remember, our strength is not in speed or power alone. It is in clarity, strategy, and control. Marks nodded slowly. He had witnessed the humans' calm precision in action, seen their ability to anticipate threats, and realized that the alien faction's previous mockery had only strengthened their resolve. Humanity's strength lay not only in skill, but in mental endurance and calculated action. Outside, the moons of Zephora rose again, their pale light casting long shadows across the settlement. The aliens were silent now, contemplating their mistakes. They had underestimated humanity's ability to respond calmly, efficiently, and strategically. Hale's unblinking gaze scanned the settlement one last time that night. Every path, every machine, every alien movement was noted. She did not tire, she did not flinch, she did not blink. For the humans, the day had been a success. The aliens had tested them, escalated their attacks, and challenged their resolve. And humanity had met every test without panic, without aggression, and without error. The aliens, meanwhile, began to understand a new reality. Mocking humanity was dangerous. Underestimating humanity was far more dangerous. And the soldier who never blinked, Captain Rena Hale, was the embodiment of a focus and calm that no alien force could easily overcome. Tomorrow would bring new tests, perhaps even more dangerous challenges. But the Peacekeepers were ready, and Zephora would learn, slowly but surely, that humanity's power was not in the strength of its fists, but in the precision of its mind and the unyielding calm of its soldiers. As the settlement settled into a tense night, Hale's figure remained on the edge of the platform, unblinking, unshaken, and ready for whatever would come next. Humanity had survived the first true confrontation, and the aliens would never forget it. The moons of Zephora hung high, casting silvery light across the metallic landscape. The alien factions were restless, their whispers carrying unease. They had tested the humans for 2 days, expecting fear, hesitation, or chaos. But the calm, precision of Captain Rena Hale had turned every test into a lesson. The aliens had begun to realize that mocking humans had been a grave mistake. Hale moved quietly through the settlement, leading her squad toward the tunnels that led to the alien command center. Their objective was clear: prevent the aliens from deploying a powerful weapon they had begun assembling in secret. It was a delicate mission. Any mistake could ignite a battle that would destroy the settlement. But Hale's focus was unshakable. "Remember," she said softly to her squad, "observe, anticipate, and act only when necessary. Our strength lies in precision, not haste." The squad nodded, following her silently, their boots barely made, a sound against the metal floor. Every step was deliberate, every movement calculated. The aliens had fortified the command center, expecting a forceful attack. But Hale's approach was different, calm, patient, and invisible until the right moment. They reached the outer perimeter of the command center, a towering structure of dark metal and glowing panels. Alien guards patrolled the area, their eyes scanning for threats. Hale signaled her squad to spread out and take positions. Sensors and improvised devices she had placed days before monitored every movement. The first wave of alien guards approached. They were heavily armed, confident that their numbers and technology would overwhelm any human intrusion. But Hale's squad moved silently, using cover and shadows to their advantage. They disarmed the guards without aggression, neutralizing each threat efficiently. Sparks flew from disabled weapons, but no one was harmed. The aliens froze as they observed the humans' calm, methodical approach. Every action was precise, deliberate, and effective. There was no fear, no hesitation, and at the center of it, all Captain Hale moved like a shadow, her eyes never blinking, her focus absolute. "Impossible," one alien muttered under its breath. "How can a human remain so still?" Hale approached a control panel, her fingers working with careful speed. She rewired circuits, bypassed security protocols, and disabled alarms that could have alerted the entire facility. The alien technicians, who had been observing from behind reinforced glass, could hardly believe what they were seeing. "She never blinks," one whispered. "Not once." How is that possible? The realization spread quickly through the command center. Whispers turned to alarmed murmurs. The aliens had mocked the humans for being weak, for relying on emotion and reaction, but they had overlooked one critical factor. Humans could focus with an intensity and patience that no alien mockery could disturb. Hale's squad advanced further, maintaining their silent precision. They neutralized additional guards and obstacles, turning the aliens' own defenses against them. Conveyor belts and machinery were rerouted, doors were locked in patterns that guided the aliens away from key areas, and surveillance devices were cleverly disabled. Every move was calculated, every action purposeful. In the central chamber, the alien general watched in disbelief. Its glowing veins pulsed faster, a clear sign of agitation. They are unlike any human we have faced. They anticipate, they control, they are unshakable. Hale stepped into the chamber, still unblinking, her presence commanding attention. "We do not seek conflict," she said calmly. "We act only to prevent harm, but if you continue with this weapon, the consequences will fall on those who ignore peace." The alien general hissed in frustration. "We underestimated your kind. We mocked your weakness, and now we see it is not weakness that defines you." Hale's eyes swept the chamber. Every alien, every device, every angle of defense had been accounted for. Her mind worked faster than any alarm or sensor. She could predict reactions, anticipate moves, and respond with calm precision. The aliens' confidence began to crumble. 1. Of the alien technicians tried to activate the weapon, believing the humans had no control over it. Hale moved silently, her fingers barely touching the controls, and the device powered down. The technician froze, unable to comprehend the speed and calmness of her action. She never falters," another whispered. "She does not even blink, not once." The alien general's composure shattered. It realized that the humans were not merely reacting, they were controlling the situation. Every test, every challenge, had been anticipated. Every threat had been neutralized without panic or aggression. And at the center of it all, Captain Hale stood as a symbol of focus, patience, and unwavering resolve. Hale addressed the room again, her voice firm but calm. "Humanity is capable of precision, discipline, and resilience. Underestimating us is dangerous. Mocking us is perilous. Your weapon will not be used, and no harm will come to those who choose peace." The alien general sank to its knees, a gesture of defeat. The room fell silent. The whispers of disbelief echoed through the chambers. Humans had not only survived the tests, they had dominated without violence, without haste, and without fear. Outside the command center, the moons of Zephora shone down on the settlement. The alien factions began to regroup, their earlier arrogance replaced by caution. The whispers spread quickly. The humans were not to be underestimated. Captain Hale's unblinking gaze had become a symbol, a legend that inspired both fear and respect. Hale moved to the center of the chamber, standing tall among her squad. They had achieved their objective without conflict, without unnecessary violence, and without error. Their calm precision had turned the tide, showing the aliens that humanity's strength was not measured in weapons alone, but in discipline, strategy, and focus. Lieutenant Marks approached, his face a mixture of awe and relief. "Captain, they've realized. They finally understand." Hale nodded slowly. "Yes. They understand that mockery and force will not sway us. Observation, patience, and precision define our strength. And that understanding will shape how they approach humanity in the future." The aliens began to see the truth. The humans were not fragile. They were not impulsive. They were focused, disciplined, and unwavering. Every attempt to challenge them had been countered with calm, controlled precision. And the human who had never blinked, Captain Hale, stood at the center of it all, a living testament to the power of focus and resilience. The command center's lights dimmed as the aliens powered down their defenses. Hale's squad remained alert, but there was no immediate threat. The humans had gained control not through violence but through strategy and calm. The aliens had been forced to acknowledge that they were no match for human patience, intelligence, and focus. As night fell over Zephora, Hale stood on the edge of the command center, her silhouette outlined against the moon's pale light. Her squad gathered around her, sharing quiet nods of respect and relief. They had faced escalation, sabotage, and intimidation, and had emerged victorious without unnecessary conflict. Mark spoke softly, still amazed. "Captain, all this? And you never blinked, not once. How do you do it?" Hale's eyes remained fixed on the horizon, steady and unyielding. Focus is stronger than fear. Calm is stronger than chaos. And patience often speaks louder than any weapon. The aliens had learned a lesson they would never forget. Humanity could not be mocked, underestimated, or intimidated. "Captain." Hale's unblinking gaze was a symbol of their discipline, a reminder that mental strength could be as powerful as any technological advantage. For the humans, the mission was far from over. But Zephora had changed. The aliens' arrogance had been replaced with respect, their plans tempered by the understanding that humanity's strength lay in clarity, precision, and unwavering resolve. And Captain Hale, silent and unblinking, had proven it. The first rays of Zephora's twin suns crept across the mining settlement, casting long shadows over the metallic platforms and tunnels. For the aliens, the night had been restless. Their whispered conversations were filled with uncertainty and unease. Humanity's peacekeepers had survived every test, countered every trap, and maintained control without panic. And at the center of it all had been Captain Rena Hale, the unblinking soldier whose calm had unnerved even the most confident alien generals. Hale stood at the edge of the central platform, scanning the settlement. Her eyes were unblinking, her focus absolute. Today, the final stage of the alien plan would unfold. They had prepared a powerful weapon, capable of devastating the settlement if activated, but Hale had anticipated this. "Squad," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "We know their plan. Our task is simple. Prevent their weapon from activating and secure the settlement. Precision, patience, and calm will be our greatest tools." Lieutenant Marks checked his equipment, glancing at Hale. "We've handled everything else. This is bigger. Are we ready?" Hale did not blink. "We are already prepared. Every detail, every angle, every reaction has been considered. Fear is their weapon. We carry only focus." The squad moved silently through the tunnels, following Hale's lead. Every guard, every patrol, every potential hazard had been mapped in their minds. The aliens had fortified the weapon's location, believing that sheer numbers and intimidation would stop the humans. But Hale's team advanced methodically, turning every obstacle into an advantage. In the first chamber, sensors designed to trigger alarms were bypassed with careful hands. Alien guards, expecting resistance, found themselves confronted with empty corridors and redirected pathways. The humans' calm, unblinking approach created confusion and hesitation. "They are impossible," one alien muttered as they observed from a hidden console. "They anticipate everything." Hale approached the final chamber, the source of the weapon's power. The alien general stood nearby, a faint glow pulsing beneath its translucent skin. "You humans, you continue to survive. How?" Hale's gaze, steady and unblinking, met the general's. "Through clarity, discipline, and focus, your weapon will not be used while we stand." With deliberate precision, Hale and her squad moved to disable the device. Wires were carefully cut, circuits rerouted, and control panels overridden. The weapon, designed to unleash chaos, powered down without a single explosion, without a single injury. Sparks flew harmlessly, and a soft hum indicated the failure of the alien plan. The aliens froze. Their arrogance, their expectation of chaos, had been shattered. They had mocked humanity, believing strength came only through aggression and numbers. But humanity had proven a different kind of power: strategy, patience, and unshakable calm. Lieutenant Marks stepped beside Hale, whispering in awe. "We did it. all without firing a shot. Hale's calm gaze swept the room. Control and precision are stronger than panic. Today they learned that strength is not measured in brute force alone. Outside, the settlement erupted in cautious relief. Miners and guards, both human and alien, watched as the Peacekeepers secured the area. The aliens' whispers were no longer mocking. They were filled with respect, tinged with caution. Humanity's reputation had been forged in calm precision, not in violence. The alien general approached Hale, its glow dimming slightly. "We underestimated your kind. You do not fear. You do not falter. And this calm is unlike anything we have faced." Hale's eyes remained steady. Fear is often assumed to be strength. Patience and focus are true strength. Respect is earned, not demanded. The general nodded slowly, acknowledging the lesson. The alien factions had learned that humanity could not be bullied, could not be intimidated, and could not be mocked. The Peacekeepers' calm control had ensured the survival of the settlement and prevented disaster. As the day progressed, the aliens began to retreat to their quarters, whispering among themselves about the humans' discipline and strategy. Even those who had once mocked the soldiers now looked upon them with respect. Captain Hale's unblinking gaze had become a symbol of human resilience, a reminder that true strength lay not in size or aggression, but in focus, patience, and the ability to act decisively under pressure. Hale moved through the settlement, checking her squad and ensuring that every area was secure. The humans had achieved victory not through fire or weapons, but through calm precision and clever strategy. Every obstacle the aliens had placed had been anticipated and neutralized. Marks followed her quietly, his eyes wide with admiration. "Captain, you never blinked once the entire operation, not even during the most dangerous moments." Hale allowed a small, faint smile. "Focus is stronger than fear, Lieutenant. Calmness is stronger than chaos. And patience often speaks louder than any weapon." The alien general watched from a distance, humbled and thoughtful. "Humanity is remarkable. Perhaps we have much to learn." Hale turned toward the settlement, her unblinking eyes scanning the horizon. The miners worked cautiously, and the alien factions had retreated in acknowledgement of the Peacekeepers' control. Humanity had proven itself, not through destruction, but through intelligence, discipline, and strategy. The moons of Zephora reflected off the metallic structures, casting a soft glow across the settlement. Hale stood tall, unblinking, and resolute. Her squad gathered around her, sharing quiet nods of respect and pride. For the humans, the mission was complete. The alien weapon had been neutralized, the settlement secured, and peace temporarily restored. The aliens had learned to respect humanity, not for their brute strength, but for their unshakable focus, calm strategy, and unwavering resolve. Hale's unblinking gaze had become a legend. The aliens would tell stories of the human soldier who never faltered, never blinked, and commanded calm in the face of chaos. Her presence alone had turned fear into respect, mocking into caution. As the sun set over Zephora, Hale watched over the settlement one last time. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new planets, and new opportunities. But the lesson of Zephora would endure. Humanity's strength lay not in aggression, but in focus, intelligence, and the ability to act with calm precision. Lieutenant Marks approached her quietly. "Captain, do you think they'll ever mock humans again?" Hale's eyes remained steady, unblinking and full of quiet confidence. "They may try, but they will never forget what patience and focus can achieve. And humanity will always rise, calm, prepared, and unbroken." As Hale stood on the platform, the moons of Zephora reflected in her unwavering eyes, a symbol of human resilience. The settlement was safe, the aliens had learned respect, and humanity's reputation as peacekeepers was solidified across the stars. For Captain Rena Hale, the unblinking soldier, and for all humanity, the victory was not just survival. It was a demonstration of what true strength really meant. Humanity had stood unbroken,